All right, we are live for another Travel Tip Tuesday here on my page, The Traveling Lucie, and today's guest is Bea, or Beatrice is how you pronounce it in Italian. I just learned that, guys. And she is with Bea's Italian Way. She is a tour guide in Italy, and I am so excited to delve into this conversation because, one, Italy is always on like everyone's list. And it's just a beautiful place to see. I have seen parts of Italy as well, and I cannot wait to delve into this with you, with an expert in the region, to tell us about the places we should be going, what we should be knowing when we're going there, and just so much more. But thank you so much, Bea, for coming on here and sharing with us today.
Thank you, Lucie, for having me. I'm very happy to be with you today.
Awesome. I love it. Well, before we get into the nitty gritty of, more about Italy and everything that we want to know, which if you guys are listening, you can totally ask questions along the way as we go along. But before we kind of get into that, I would love for you to share with people just kind of how did you get started in traveling in the first place, and how did that story start?
Well, to cut a very long story short, I will give you briefly the story of my life. I'm an archaeologist, actually. So I started as an archaeologist when I was young, and I've traveled a little in the world. My specialization was in the Middle East. So I was working mainly in the Middle East, Egypt, Jordan, but actually Syria mostly. And then the war happened and other family reasons. So I came back in Italy, so started working in Rome as a researcher. And then I came back in Florence. I was missing Florence. That is not my hometown. I live close to Florence, not really in Florence, in a city that is more a town called Pistoia, but it's very close to Florence. So I came back to Tuscany, and I decided to start in tour guiding. So I love art, I love history, and I wanted to keep a connection with that part of my life, and I wanted to share. So, or I became a teacher or a tour guide, and I thought, why not tour guide? And I took my license, because in Italy, there are licenses. In the past, there were licenses for every city. Now it's a little bit different. So your license works for the entire nation, but they are deciding. So they are making a new law. But more or less, it's like that. And I started tour guiding in Florence and Tuscany. And I found my way, because I can talk to people actually not with ceramics and pottery. And I loved that life. But trust me, Lucie, it's not an Indiana Jones life. So everybody, when they say I'm an archaeologist, they imagine me like Indiana Jones on a horse. Well, it's not really so adventurous. You stay filling papers and papers. But that was nice. But I love tour guiding. And so that's how I started. And it's been now my 8th year.
Wow, that's awesome. So, wow, it wasn't an Indiana Jones lifestyle? Darn, did it come with the hat at least? I love that. So
no hat.
No hat, darn.
And no guns.
Right.
And no guns.
No guns? They ill-prepared you for what to expect as an archaeologist. Well, I just love that, because I think a lot of people don't realize, like, kind of the story about how a lot of people get involved with tour guiding. And it's so much because of, like, people just have that craving for history, and then you guys take that to like a whole nother level by sharing that. And it's so it's so evident when you go to a country and like you're being guided by this tour guide, and then they make it just like this flow that you're going with. I love taking tours when that's the first thing I do when I get to a city, is like I take a tour and just delve into the history of the city. It's like the history books come to life, because it's absolutely nothing like when you're reading a history book that's like it's like
it's the passion. And we share, of course, the information, but it's more the experience that you have with the people and what you feel. So I love that place. I love that history. I love that piece of art or whatever. And I want my people to love it too. So it's a sharing more than a teaching. Otherwise, you just do a course, but this is something else, a class. So it's really making friends and taking your friends to see your city. So that's really a nice job because I love it. So it's like I'm not working. It's like I'm having fun.
Absolutely. And you get to be with people like when like they're having a great time. They're on vacation. It's like you're just like living with them, on vacation, seeing everything for the first time. I love it. So you said you were in Pistoia, right?
Yes.
And that's like kind of the region that you're in.
Yeah.
So I know there's a couple of places that you specialize in, right? So what are kind of those places that you specialize in as a tour guide in Italy?
Well, I'm specialized in Tuscany. So I'm from Tuscany. That is the region. That is the regione, is the region, and mainly Florence. That is, of course, the capital city of Tuscany. So I tour guide mainly in Florence, but even in the countryside. Now, my town is called Pistoia. It's about 25 kilometers. So it's a half an hour ride by car. So very close. It's a very nice middle-aged city that it's not a place where normally a person that is coming for the first time, decide to come. But I really recommend it because you really feel the Italian life, because you can go to the everyday market of fruit and vegetable, and we know each other here. Everybody knows each other. So yeah, it can be an experience for sure, but it's close to Florence. It's in the Florence area. So
very cool. Sounds beautiful. So what are some of the main aspects of that area that you love the most? Like, what are some must-sees that you think people should go to? Because a lot of people, when they go to Italy, like they automatically think of, Venice, Rome. Like those are the first two places I think that come up for a lot of people, but everybody knows what Tuscany is, or should. If you don't, look it up. But what yes, Google is your friend. So what are some of those places? I know that you kind of specialize in off the beaten path type of tours and such like that. So what are some of the places that you would like to share today that people should go to if they're going to that region?
I have an infinite list. We can start and tomorrow. Well, my suggestion, in Italy, there is so much to see because it's such a place with such an history. My suggestion is not to overcrowd your planning because it's impossible to see everything in one day. Italy is not big, so yeah, you can travel, but it's long and narrow. So if you want to do from north to south by car, it's taking forever. And my suggestion is or you do the bigs, the musts. So like the classic Rome, Florence, and then Venice. That is mainly what people do when they come the first time. But it is even better to choose a region and do that. So if you come to Tuscany, you enjoy Tuscany, for example, and maybe you do Tuscany and Rome, or Venice and Tuscany. But if you overcrowd a little bit the schedule, it can be too much, even because it's so much of a bunch of information. So when you do tours, then if you are a history lover, art lover, it's so much in just one trip. So like 2 weeks, then your brain is exploding with information. So take it easy because you need to enjoy life. It's a vacation. It's not a class. So take your time to have coffee, to live the Italian life, to have aperitivo. So this is my main suggestion. So based on your interest. Of course, I'm from Tuscany, so I highly recommend to come to Florence. That's over there. Exactly.
Yeah, I wanted to pull this up because I think that a lot of people, know where Italy is, but they don't realize how big it is, like compared to like the rest of
Europe. Is not big, but actually, of course, it depends how many days you have in your journey. Now we are lucky because with the trains, the transports are very quick. So if you take the Eurostar, for example, you can go very fast from Florence to Rome in an hour. You have to book before, so you have a nice price. So I suggest to plan at least the big transportation, distances, because if you book in advance, even months in advance or weeks in advance, you can have a very nice price, the nice fare. So it's really, really cheap with the train, more than the plane. Okay, so the plane, just if you want to go from north to south, like in Sicily, you want to go to the islands, well, that's maybe better doing with a company like Ryanair or low-cost company that you can find. Florence is right there in the center, let's say north center of Italy. So we are well connected to everything. We are well connected to Venice and to Rome. That's why many people do Florence, Venice, and Rome, because there is the quick train that connects everything.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely. And then I see right here's Pistoia that you were talking about that you're in. So it's very close.
I am there in this moment in red zone, because some cities are red zone at the moment. So Tuscany is a beautiful place because you can have the city art museums if you are a history lover in Florence. And then you can go to the countryside, enjoy the Chianti. If you like wine, you can take wine tours. You can go to the villas, enjoy the wineries. They can explain to you how they make the wine. And you can go to the beach in another just half an hour. So you are at the seaside. So it's a little bit of everything. So that's really, really hard for me to say what I recommend in the entire Italy. I should do a list for you that mainly, if it's the first time, of course, Florence and Rome. Yeah, Venice is a dream. I mean, it's something unique. It was overcrowded in the past. I mean, before the pandemic, it was really, really overcrowded. But of course, now if you go, there's no one. It's like living in a dream. It's so special that me myself, when I go, it's like I'm inside a painting. And then if you have the time to travel in the south and you go Naples, and then in Sicily, for example, Sicily is beautiful. So, but it takes just one trip for that. So you go to Sicily or Puglia, even Puglia, that is the hill. So that's if you want to do a trip and having, seaside time, sunbathing. So that I recommend. So if you are a history lover, let's start with the cities of art like Florence and Rome. And then if you have been already, you can do something, a little bit more curious and more different. And so enjoying something on the road that is so nice, like backpacking and doing the ancient ways, like the Francigena that now are so fashionable, doing the Pilgrim's Way, like the Francigena. So you can actually walk and stop in these beautiful places where to like B&B, but they are beautiful. So agriturismi, we call them, and you can stay there, you can see the farm, etc. That's really impressive.
Yeah, that sounds gorgeous. Like, I'm just like, like there's so many places to see in Italy, and like so much. So how much time do you think someone who's visiting Italy, to get a really good taste, how long do you think that they should be coming there? Or even if they just want to check out like the Florence area, maybe the Rome area that you're talking about, or maybe Florence and Venice, like you mentioned, like what's the kind of time frame you'd recommend for people?
A couple of weeks.
Oh,
because,
okay.
Yeah, with the jet lag and so on, consider you're losing a couple of days when you arrive. So if you want to really enjoy time, I suggest a couple of weeks to really enjoy the time. So you have time to stay in the cities for 3-4 days in each city, and then maybe deciding doing something even off the beaten path and seeing the countryside and enjoying the real life. So of course, if you
Absolutely.
have just 1 week, you have to choose 3 cities in 1 week is really intense.
Yeah, it is. I agree. I usually, when I go to a country, go to a minimum of 2 places, but I try to like spend in each city like at least a few days, like exploring and like seeing those different places. But if you're spending a few days, and that's a lot to do that in 1 week. So I always love going to like off the beaten path cities and such. So obviously I'm guessing Pistoia is one of those that you should go to visit. Um, yes. Are there any others that you would recommend, like just outside of Florence, that aren't like the major cities? Because I think that really you get so much culture, right, from those smaller cities. They teach you a lot more about the culture that you're visiting.
Well, I just read an article of a survey of Airbnb this morning. Actually, the main destination, they've made a list, top 10 list, and the main destinations were out of the big cities, actually, and 2 were Montepulciano and Pienza. So really out of Florence. Pienza is in the Val d'Orcia, so it's in the countryside, and they are quite small, but middle age and Renaissance, but beautiful. So these little places, you can even overnight there. If you choose to stay out of the city and then you get to the city for 1 day, it can be an idea, for example. So these 2, Montepulciano and Pienza, were in the top 5 actually. One was the 5th place and one the 6th, I guess. So of Airbnb destination here in Italy. So that was impressive for me, even more than Florence itself. And then, of course, I recommend to have a trip to Siena. That actually is the arch enemy of Florence, because in Tuscany, every city has an arch enemy since the Middle Age. So of course now it's just for fun, let's say, but yeah, we are like that in Tuscany. So every city has its own arch enemy, and Firenze, Florence, and Siena were 2 arch enemies. So you should go even there. So the Senesi will be very glad. And Lucca, that is on the way here. So if you cross my city, you go to Lucca and you see, for example, the walls, the Middle Age walls. So you can walk on the walls that have been restored during the Renaissance. So it's like walking in 1500s things, really. And yeah, so these are actually cities. If you want to go to towns, visit the towns of the Chianti. So like Greve in Chianti, all the Chianti area, what you normally refer as Tuscany, that is the idea of Chianti and Val d'Orcia, 2 different sides. Those are little towns. If you rent a car, you can even do a tour in a couple of days, and every stop, a glass of wine, and then you keep going. So
I like that. Glass of wine and then on to the next place.
yeah.
And yeah, Italy is known for its wine too. So that is always something to keep in mind. Is there a favorite wine that you have over there? Oh.
Well, I like red wine. I love the red wine, and here we are famous for the Chianti. That actually takes the name from the area that it's produced in the Chianti area, and it's not the name of the grape. It's the name really of the area of production. So if you want a Chianti Classico, you must have Chianti produced there, otherwise it's not Chianti. So it's not the type of grape, but it's the region, and I love that. And now they have this new super Tuscan, they call them. So that I love them actually. It's a kind of new, not actually new anymore, but the super Tuscan is very fashionable. Super Tuscan wine, and yeah, they are red and they are quite strong, so you need to have always something to eat, like a bruschetta with along with it, and you're gonna have a great time. So every stop, bruschetta and wine, and then you go to San Gimignano to see the towers. Maybe you have seen in many movies all those towers. It's very famous, San Gimignano. and for the ice cream as well. So it's always connected with food. So that's what I love of Italy.
I was about to say, I'm like, next question, food. Because I think when people think of Italy, obviously they think of pizza, right? So, well, obviously meeting anyone in the US is probably like, oh yeah, Italy pizza. But I'm sure that there is so much more than pizza that they need to be eating.
Yes.
So what do they need to be eating when they go to Italy?
Now, first thing, I love doing food tours. Actually, it's a thing I've been doing for the last 3 years mostly. I specialized in food tours and food experiences now, virtual food experiences.
I knew I liked you.
Yeah. The first thing is that we do not actually have an Italian food. Okay, Italian cuisine, it's a myth. It doesn't actually exist because every region has its own. Because Italy has been divided for so many centuries that in many regions, so every region was a different state. And so we developed a different cuisine and different roots. So when in Tuscany, you should eat Tuscan food. When in Naples, you should eat pizza, for example. And when in Rome, you should eat pasta, so good carbonara, for example, or cacio e pepe. So a big dish of pasta in Rome, in Trastevere. So you cross the river. And when you cross the river, it's always fine. Just remember this of the Italian cities. The main center, the downtown, when you cross the river on the other side, it's always the local side. And that happens in Rome and it happens in Florence. So the other side of the river is the more local area with all the restaurants and local places to eat. Oh. So in Tuscany, we are famous for bistecca, for the steak, the T-bone steak. So meat, yes. And that's really the main thing, the bistecca. But we have many other food. There is something, I don't know, have you been in Florence, Lucie, ever?
I haven't been to Florence, and it's funny that you mentioned Lucca because I was going to go there. I have been to Venice, I have been to Pompeii, and I have been to Amalfi and like the Amalfi Coast and Positano and such like that. So those I kind of took a yeah. So those are some of the places that I've been to so far, and I'm like super excited now to go back and go to Florence and all of these places. So I'm like so glad that you're pronouncing them so beautifully, because when I go, I'm just gonna like replay it. I'm just gonna be like, this is what I need to eat. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Well, there is something in Florence that it's a little bit strange, maybe if you're not used to it, because it's done with leftovers. Most of Tuscan cuisine is done with leftovers, but today it's fashionable. And the most famous thing is the street food called lampredotto. Have you ever heard about that?
No. What is it? Please explain.
I have to explain, people. Sometimes I would love to, do the surprise. Like, I'm not like for kids. I'm not telling you what it is. First you eat, then I tell you, but I can't.
You want to know the last time I heard that? The last time I heard that was in Scotland for what is it? Oh, darn. Just blew my mind. Not hummus. Darn. The haggis. Oh, which when you Google that, it's not.
No, I always tell the people. I tell them because they are adults. I mean, they need to choose. It's the fourth stomach of the cow.
Oh,
okay.
Of course, it's something to do with stomach.
Yeah, it's like tripe. Tripe is the first, and lampredotto is made with the last stomach of the cow, and it was a poor food. Okay, back in the days, in a panino, it goes in a sandwich, so you eat it. It's street food, and at those times, 1 century ago, etc., it was for poor people that couldn't afford the good cut of the meat of the cow, so they had the leftovers, what was left. But now there is a counter and a special place for lampredotto even in the 4th season. So you see that now it's the fashion. So things that were pure cuisine, now you find them in the best restaurants. For example, my grandparents, they were astonished because some things like the pappa that is done with the bread, because we do these salads or this soup with bread, like panzanella, pappa al pomodoro. All these dishes were pure cuisine. My grandma would have never dreamt of giving these dishes, on Sunday to a guest. And then at the restaurant, nowadays, when we sat down and, but here we have the panzanella. How they serve us panzanella in the restaurant? It's so expensive. And it was, yes, grandma, now it's fashionable. So yeah, it depends where you are. So when in Naples, enjoy good pizza. Of course, you can find a good pizza even in Florence. But maybe here, if you have 3 days, enjoy the things of Florence, the cuisine of Florence. When you go to the Costiera Amalfitana, for example, so Amalfi Coast, and it's wonderful. I've been actually in the only window we had during summer. You can enjoy there the fish and the beautiful desserts that they have, and all the typical things they have there. So always try to make a little bit of a research about food, so you are sure to eat the things that are really the ones of the region.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that food experience just sounds like incredible. Like that sounds like a dream just to me. Like to be on a food experience tour with you pronouncing it all and making sure that I'm getting the right thing. Oh, that's amazing. And so you actually, I know you've been working on some things during the pandemic. Obviously, the pandemic has changed quite a bit in the world and the scope of things, and probably turned your job upside down since you've been doing it for so long. Tell people a little bit about the things that you're doing right now I know you're doing a couple of different things going on right now. So tell them a little bit about that.
Well, the pandemic was really, as for everybody, it came suddenly. So when we realized that we were already in the middle of it, and of course, tour guiding is like having little groups of people. So that was one of the first jobs that we had for safety reason to stop. And I have been doing just a few tours during summer. And then when we had yellow zone now before Christmas, but then in Italy, the situation now is not really beautiful. Just in Sardinia, if you go to Sardinia, everything is open. They are white zone because we divided in colors: white, yellow, dark yellow, orange, dark orange, and red. So we are using things.
I thought it was like red, green, or I thought it was going to be red, yellow, green, and then you threw me off with the white.
Yeah, we are Italians, so it was just.
Yeah, that makes sense. Green, yeah.
White, yellow, and orange and red. But then they decided, okay, there is a dark yellow, and there is a lighter yellow, and there is a darker orange. So it's a little bit confusing.
It's a scale.
Anyway, I actually had to think something out of the box, and that was even a way for me to be proactive. And so at the beginning, I started doing tours online. So like virtual tours about art and culture. But it was a little bit challenging, because staying in front of a computer, your attention, even if you love it, your attention is going, then drifting away after a while. So I've been doing that, and I keep doing sometimes even about art, explaining a little bit Renaissance, for example. But then I thought, I have been doing many food tours. Why don't I propose something about food that is more, you involve people more. So you do actually something, and while you're doing and you're cooking, I can tell you the stories. So I have been doing this, I call them virtual experiences, because they are not really cooking classes. I'm not a chef. I just have all the recipes of my nonna, of my grandma, and what I do normally. So things that I do actually at home normally, like an aperitivo or a dish of pasta or a torta cake. So things that I actually do even for my family. And I teach how to do them with all the tricks and tips. And in the meantime, I tell the stories, the history of the ingredients, because every ingredient is connected with our history, with the Medici family, for example, or some legends, anecdotes. So it's a way of having fun, because you are cooking and then you are eating. So it's fine. And in the meantime, you learn about Italian tradition and culture. And then it's gonna, you're gonna have a memory of it, because you have been doing something. It's not just listening. And actually then we eat together. And it was even a way to keep connected with my people, because being a tour guide, you imagine from seeing so many people every day to seeing just my cat, my fiance, and that's all. That was like, oh my, how can I survive without meeting people? And this is nice. So I'm happy that it's 2020 and 2021 now, and we have all these platforms.
Absolutely. No. And I think that that's so unique. I'm so glad that you ended up doing those food experiences. And I'm guessing that, I mean, ingredients might be a little different some places, but I'm guessing that those you can pretty much do all over the world. So, or is it kind of aimed at people who are in Italy? Like, how is it? It's everybody can do it, right?
All over. Yes.
Yeah.
Mainly, yes. Of course, Italian people, they know already maybe the stories and how to cook that. So mainly I have people from abroad. I mean, US people or European people that, of course, they want to, share the time and have a good time with friends, or just the family, and learn an Italian recipe and learn the stories. Yeah.
How often do you do those experiences for people?
Well, every week.
Oh,
Yes.
Very cool.
Actually, yes. Right now, since the tours they stopped, because it's red here. I actually do them pretty much not every day, but every week. Yes.
Very cool. So I'm guessing people can go to. I know that you have an Instagram, the B.A. Florence guide on Instagram, and then they can go to the link in bio there, right? And is that how they get to the cooking classes?
Yeah, ramen, or DM me, and that's
Okay.
very, very fast. Or there is a link tree, and you can press on the two experiences I've put there. And the one is for the cake, and another one is for the aperitivo. But I've been doing even the pasta, the tiramisu, and many other things. So that's just a DM, and that's it. Yeah.
I love that. Maybe that might have to be a video I do. Like, I take your cooking class, and yeah, that might be a good idea.
Have an aperitivo. I would love that. The happy hour. That is the time for you right now, because in the US now it's the aperitivo time. So we started at 6, and it's actually aperitivo time.
I love it. That's awesome. So I'm definitely going to look into that. I love that. And we already had some people kind of chiming in. Carol was saying that she's ready to go back to Italy. And, and then we had a Met who was like, you guys are really inspiring us to travel back during the pandemic. I don't know how to handle it. And Ben also said that he loved your advice, and hello to you. So thank you guys for commenting.
I'm here, as I always tell, I'm right here to hug you as soon as the pandemic is over, with one Prosecco in my hand, and another cup of tiramisu in the other. I don't know.
Ooh, okay, yeah, I'm sold. Don't tell me anything else. I'll be there.
Since summer is coming, so ice cream and Prosecco.
Sounds good to me. What is is there a specific name for the ice cream over there that people like, or is it just
gelato?
Oh, okay, gelato. Yeah. How did I not know that? I knew that. That was a silly question.
No, actually not, Lucie. Because ice cream, I think I'm not a chef, but I think ice cream and gelato, they are made in a different way. Kind of how they whip them and the temperature. So they are too similar, but not really the same things. So.
That's true. A little bit different in texture.
Yeah.
For sure. So, wow, you've already said so much. And hey, if you guys are just tuning in right now, make sure you guys rewatch what we were just talking about after this is over. It was so good. And if you guys have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and we can pull them up and get your questions answered about Italy or Florence or Tuscany or Pistoia. I love it. I feel like I love now talking to tour guides because you guys like really just paint the whole picture for me. And I'm just like, yep, I'm there. I'm in Italy. I'm not in Florida.
Yeah, we know what to do. We know what to do.
Yeah.
No, it's so nice to feeling that people are coming back and I don't know when, but soon. So we are seeing the light. We are seeing the light. So that's so inspiring even for me. So I know that Ahmed said that we are inspiring you to travel during the pandemic, but actually you travel with your mind and then you get ready to travel with your body.
There you go. You're preparing yourself. I mean, technically, you do that when you go and you research these places. You're looking them up and you're getting a feel and everything. So I think your experiences would totally take that craving to a whole nother level of just like needing to be there like as soon as possible. So let's talk a little bit about like what if people are gonna ask their questions and we'll pull them up after. But I'd love for you to kind of delve into like kind of what you're seeing from your perspective. I mean, here in the U.S., people don't really hear a lot about what's going on in other countries. It's very our news isn't the best, but I'm curious as to like how things are over there. And you said you're in a red zone, so is that the absolute worst?
Yeah, it's not the total lockdown as we had last year. So, but it's actually the worst. So red is the worst situation,
okay.
Unfortunately. But just some cities of Tuscany. Tuscany is orange at the moment where I live.
Okay.
The region, the entire region is orange, but certain cities, because of the condition of the hospitals, etc., they are red. So it means I cannot go out of town if I don't have a special, thing to do. Or for a job, etc. And I should move out just for important reasons or for going to the supermarket. I just can make, jogging around my house or here the neighborhood. So these are the rules. They are controlling, of course, and actually people here respect quite all of them respect the rules. So let's see what's happening with the vaccine, because Italy has not so many vaccine doses as the US for the moment. But I want to stay positive because I think that for the summer, maybe we are getting back to, let's say, more normal life. Normal.
In the summer. Yeah. So that sounds good. Yeah. Do you know what the color is for like when they like let people like actually visit from outside? Because I'm presuming we can't go to a red place.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Yellow. You can actually have a quite normal life, but still the restaurants have been closed for dinner, so open just for lunch, because here we still have the curfew. And after 6 o'clock, they had to close all the restaurants. So I've been craving to dine out at dinner because just lunch.
You're like, I am done cooking.
6 o'clock for us is so early because in Italy we have dinner late at 8:30, let's say. So 6 is the aperitivo time. But they wanted to avoid people actually to go out, and that was the time that you finish your job. So maybe you want to gather with your friends. So that's the reason why of the rule. But let's see if the things are moving in the positive direction. Maybe for the summer, everything's going to be open. The neutral zone is the white. So when they will declare white zone, of course, it's going to be okay, even for dinner out, etc.
Okay.
So I really guess that for summer, maybe even visiting is safe, and you can even enjoy life, because here it's safe now. I mean, but you have to stay in the house. So unless you want to stay here, my guest, and we play cards,
I'll be right over. You sound like you can cook, so
yeah, we eat tiramisu. I've been doing a lot of tiramisu. My freezer is full. So
that if you need help, I'm there for you. I wouldn't want you to have all that tiramisu by yourself. I could never.
yeah, but for the blooming season, I think Italy is okay, and that's the best part, because the gardens is another thing that I really love people to see. So seeing the blooming of all the flowers, it's very nice even to do Instagram shots and so on.
That's awesome. I love that. And so with we were talking a little bit about culture, so I kind of want to delve into that a little bit, because I think knowing the culture of a place is so important. And I think that sometimes, especially if you're traveling from the US, and I always try to do this whenever I go to another country, I always try to like learn little bits of the language, so I can like better communicate with people, but also like really try to delve into the culture and understand where I'm at, which you can do via tour. You can start via tour by learning more about the culture that you're entering and the history. But I wonder if you have any advice on when people go there, what they should kind of be aware of culturally that maybe is miscommunicated if they're from the US. And I know sometimes like people think French people are rude, and I haven't experienced that, but I think it's because I've made a little bit more effort to speak to them. Like, so what are some of your advices culturally, like when going over to Italy, that people should be prepared for, and how they should respond to certain situations?
Now, it depends even what part of Italy you're going, because we are so different in the way
True.
we act. So in the south, maybe you have this image of the very welcoming Italian person, that we are all very welcoming, but this is in the south. They are so welcoming, and they want to kiss you, and you have to give 2 or 3 kisses to everybody. And it's not like that in Tuscany. So, you don't go around kissing many times, because here in Tuscany we are a little bit more like, oh, distance. But this is why they think that Florentine people they have a high nose, as they say, because in Florence they are a little bit more cold, maybe sometimes. So not every Italian is the same. So this is the first thing. So we are really different from each other, and that's the beautiful part. And we don't have the customer service that US has. So this is another thing. It's really different. I heard even in the last interview, Ali mentioned that about the customer service. Now, in the US, in North America, you have a wonderful customer service. I've been there, and I felt like a queen. I was like, oh my God, I'm a special, I'm a VIP. Right here, actually, sometimes we take things slow, and they sometimes, you can feel that they are not giving you maybe the right service, or answering in a very quick way. It doesn't matter that they're angry at you, and that happens sometimes in Tuscany. I'm sorry to say that, because it's my region, but in other regions, like if you go north of Tuscany, in Emilia Romagna, they have all another customer service. They are so nice, and it's the way of the people. So, and sometimes we are a little bit more slow. So if it don't worry if it's not quick as you're used to, and don't worry to ask politely. If you feel that you have been waiting for a little bit of time, and now you are worried that they forgot, maybe you can ask like politely, what's going on, or is it coming? So that's fine. Do not worry about that. Always with a smile. If you smile, people are gonna smile back to you.
That's true.
And that's every part in the world. And as for then other things, when you feel that people are shouting very loud, it doesn't mean they are angry. Okay, so sometimes We are loud people. Okay, so even if you see two Italians, talking loud between them, it doesn't mean that they are angry at each other. They're not discussing, especially if they are eating together. Okay, so it means they are happy. So sometimes I have international friends, and when we are with people that we know, friends or family, and they ask me, "Are you arguing? What's going on?" Like a little bit of embarrassment, and I'm, no, that's everything is fine. Actually, we just talk over each other because we are excited. This is our way. And then think about the gestures, because we speak with hands. You see that I'm moving hands. I'm trying to stay still, but it's impossible.
I use my hands all the time too. People are like, "You use your hands too much." I was like, maybe you don't use your hands enough.
I'm trying to keep my hands here. So yeah,
let them go.
sometimes we just make a gesture to answer. So be sure that you catch it, otherwise you feel that they're not answering you. And I'm not thinking anything special about cultural differences. It's just if you use your brain more or less, and if you just smile to people, if you are polite, people are gonna be polite to you. Same. So maybe if you are on a trip, consider always what you want to visit. Now it's things that are coming to my mind while we're speaking. For example, if you want to visit churches, and maybe sometimes you don't plan what to see when you are in the city, you just go around. Always bring with you something like a scarf to cover yourself, because here in churches they may be very strict. Okay, so this is one. Now that I'm remembering, when I was tour guiding, one of the main problems is summer. In summer, it's so hot. The heat is unbearable. So people are coming with shorts, of course, like at the beach. But here in Italy, we don't go around in the city dressed like at the beach. We are very, we always look at the fashion. And then in the churches, they're going to stop you for sure. So if you are like with just a t-shirt, always have in your purse something just to cover. So if you are entering a place that you want to visit, like a church, you know that you can cover yourself quickly and they will let you in without problems. As for other things now, I'm not thinking of anything special actually, of a big differences, but it's just it's just that sometimes people do things in other ways, but if you just use your brain and you think what's good for you, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, common sense a lot of times, and really just trusting your gut and just going along with the flow of things and everything. I think that a lot of people don't realize that that's kind of the key to travel. It's just trusting your gut, just being aware of your surroundings and being aware of how you're treating other people.
Especially in touristy places, be aware of where you are, and don't trust those people selling things in the street. They don't have even a counter or anything. So if something feels wrong to you, it can be wrong. So there's no shame to just ask maybe someone that is passing by, or you just go in a shop and you ask, this person has said to me this, is it right, is it okay? You go to a cafe and you can ask, and you ask for help if something feels to you wrong. And this is for every touristy city in the world. And when you are in the countryside, you are more relaxed because everyone is so friendly, because it's always in the countryside, it's always like that. So if you go, they're gonna take under the arm, and you are their friends in a moment. So
yeah, absolutely. And I've experienced that too. They were very, very friendly in Italy, and I never had any issues. And I stayed in mom and pop hostels, and they were just beyond nice, and just telling you all the tricks and all the places to go. And it was a beautiful, beautiful time. So speaking of visiting and everything, what do you think is the best time of year that people should go to visit? Does everybody go there? And when is maybe things a little bit calmer and people can, enjoy it a little bit more? Or just when you think is the best time in general?
Now, of course, I don't know what's going to happen after this situation, but I'm going to speak with the experience I have of the previous life.
Yes.
Now, I would avoid summer, because summer is, I told you, the heat is unbearable for the city. So if you want to go to the seaside, yes, come to July. If you want to stay on the beach. But if you want to visit the cities and the traveling around, or doing a backpack road and walking, avoid July and August, because it's really 42 degrees and that's too much. And then
and 42 degrees, that's in Celsius for anybody watching in the US. That's like 90 degrees. Okay, just need to clarify that for Americans, because they don't know Celsius.
It's the heat in the city. It's really unbearable. So June has been always very crowded, and even September in the last years, because June and September are the moments when the sun is shining, the weather is beautiful, and the heat is not so unbearable. So of course people prefer June and September, but you may find such a crowd, too many people. So I suggest spring. It's true that you can have some rain, because sometimes during spring, you never know. You can have a beautiful spring in May, and you can catch some rain. But during the spring, so I'm talking about May or late September, the beginning of October, in the last years, it has been very nice. You can have, better time, and you enjoy your time. You don't have the crowd in the museums, and then you still have weather that is nice to go to the countryside and have a ride. So yes, and you can see the bloomings and all the flowers, and they are beautiful. And if you want to do something like off the beaten path, I always suggest to do a tour of the gardens, for example, in Italy. They are beautiful, but you must be a garden or flower lover. So
you don't have to be. I think anybody can appreciate a good flower. What is is there a flower of Italy that people like, or like one flower, or that is more common to find?
In Tuscany, the sunflower, maybe.
Oh.
So when you go, when you travel during summer, and you see this immense streets with all the sunflowers on the two sides, they are beautiful. And then the red poppy flower, it's something else that you can always see. It's wild. And then that's not typical of Tuscany or of Italy, but olive trees, that it's not a flower, but it's the most common thing here, the olive trees, or if you go to visit the vineyards, so you see all the grapes. That's mainly for Tuscany. So this is what you see. And as for the gardens, you find everything, because these gardens are historical. So they have collected in centuries a variety of flowers from everywhere in the world. And so that's beautiful. I love wisteria, for example. So I can't wait to be in April and out of the red zone, I guess. So I can go to visit the gardens in Florence with the beautiful wisteria. There's one with the wisteria, and you see Florence in the background. So when the wisteria is so blue, violet, you have really a vision.
Oh, that sounds beautiful. Oh, I just want to be there now.
Yeah, maybe I should post it on Instagram, the photo last year with the wisteria. The wisteria lasts just 3 weeks, then it's going away. The flowers are going away, but that's the beauty of it. You have to be there for that time. So yes, if people love to make pictures of flowers, or you have to check the blooming of the flowers, and some gardens are open just for the blooming.
Wow.
Like the iris is the symbol of Florence. I know that the symbol of Florence is very similar to France. It's the fleur d'lis, but it's an iris actually. So the symbol is similar if you look at it, but with 2 pistils, and it's an iris more than a lily flower. And the iris is the flower of Florence. And there is the irises garden, but it's open just 3 weeks because the irises are so fast. They bloom and they disappear. So that garden is just 3 weeks open and it's free. So yeah,
nice.
In May normally they bloom, if I'm not mistaken.
Very nice. Well, free is for me. I like that.
So yeah, you have in May. I think we gotta be safe. So it's an idea to to see it. Yeah.
Don't tempt me with a good time. I love it. Oh, you've given so many great tips. I am so thankful for you coming on here and everything. And all of just the little tips that you have done. Guys, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys go to the description of this video. Make sure you guys go and check out her Instagram, Be a Florence Guide. The link is in the description, as well as her other social media handles. She's on Facebook as well, and Clubhouse, and all of these great things. So you can always keep an eye on Bea. Is there anything else that you want to mention that you think you got to wrap it, or anything that we should know that you haven't already mentioned?
Now, as I said, Italy can be a great trip, but there is so much to see. So make a little research before. So when you're here, you can enjoy your time to the best, and always think large. This is what in matter of timing, because when you're here, then you transform yourself in an Italian. So you want to stay out drinking your coffee, enjoying your aperitivo, and having a good time. So if you rush too much, you don't have these vibes. This is, so my recommendation is a little bit of research at home, planning, and then you enjoy more here. It doesn't matter then if you stick to the plan. You can even then go with the flow, but maybe you have your train booked, so it's cheaper. And if you have your ticket for the museum already reserved, you don't stay in line for hours. And all this time, it's better to stay at the table drinking, a Negroni or a spritz instead of standing in line. And so just a little bit of planning, and be sure you know what you want, where you want to go without overcrowding. And then you're gonna love so much Italy that you're gonna come back and you can see more.
Oh, I love that. That is amazing information. And go ahead, and is there any other way that people can reach out to you if they have any questions? I know you mentioned Instagram. Just kind of go over all of the aspects in which people can reach out to you if they ever have any questions.
Now, if of course, Instagram is the platform that I use more maybe now, and Clubhouse, but it's been a discovery. So they can reach out to Be a Florence Guide on Instagram, or Bea's Italian Way on Facebook. You can DM me or via email without problems. So this is the email. And you can reach out on Instagram. There is even the button just to contact me and text me. So for DMs, I'm really open, even for questions. So if anyone has any questions about Italy or distances or what's best, with Florence or with Rome, and what maybe if you have just 1 week or two, you can reach out. I'm here, so some company is good, because I told you I'm here just cooking and doing these virtual experiences. So that's the best way. Yeah, DM me, and I'm working on having a blog, but I'm still working on it. So maybe in the next months.
Very nice. Very excited for the blog. And when you get that, make sure to let me know, and I can add it to the description, since these videos on YouTube and on YouTube, they last forever. So I will make sure that if your blog is up and done, then we will go ahead and add that to the description. So if you're watching this however long from now, you guys can check out that blog as well, because I'm sure it's going to be awesome. And don't forget about those experiences that she's doing, because I'm really excited. I think we're going to have to collaborate on that. And I'm excited to see how you kind of do those experiences. I think that's going to be really fun. Well, Bea, It has been such a pleasure to have you here. And I actually have one last question. I don't know if you know it or not, if you listen to some of my other videos. There's one last question that I ask to every single person who comes on to my video. So tell me, and tell everyone, how has travel changed and impacted you in your life?
Traveling is everything. So it really makes me grow. So it's building my personality and opening my eyes, actually. So it's more than going to school for me. So I think that traveling is really a way of being a citizen of the world as we are. So understanding that everything you see belongs to you. It's a cultural heritage of everybody. So this way you should feel that you have to take care of it wherever you are. It's not just Italian and we take care of Italy. We are all the same. So this is part of our cultural heritage of everybody. So I think that traveling makes people feel a big family and positive vibes always, because you feel that you are really close to the people and to that culture.
Oh, I love that. A citizen of the world, and that it's just everybody taking care of everyone, because we are all the same. You're so right. I love that. Everybody always answers in a different, unique way, but it's all like kind of saying the same thing. And it's just, I absolutely love hearing people answer that question. So thank you for that beautiful, beautiful answer. I love that.
Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. And thank you for being on here as well, because it's pretty late over there in Italy. So I very much appreciate you taking the time out of your night and sleep to be here with us, because I believe it's like midnight over there, right?
Yeah, now it's midnight, but we go to sleep late in Italy, don't worry.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bea, for being here. And again, guys, if you guys want to reach out to Bea and just find her on Instagram, you can go ahead and email her. Everything is in the description of this video. I do go live every single Tuesday with a new guest, and we talk about travel in some way, shape, or form, hopefully preparing you for the future of travel and everything that's to come, and getting the travel bug even bigger than I think it already is out there. And then if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel on YouTube. You can find all of the interviews that I have done in the past since I think June of last year. I've done quite a bit now and really interviewed some amazing people just like Bea here. And then you guys can also follow me on Instagram at The Traveling Lucie, where you can DM me as well if you ever have any questions, or if you want to come on and be a guest yourself, if you have something to share. Would love to have you guys. And I hope that you guys are having an amazing Tuesday so far. Thank you so much for watching this video. And thank you so much, Bea, for being here with me and sharing all of your amazing tips. I am so excited to go to Florence and everywhere, just everywhere that you had mentioned, and eat all of that delicious food.
Yes. Yeah. But so thank you and ciao, as we say. So ciao.
Ciao. Thank you. Everyone have an amazing night. Ciao.
Ciao.